So today's episode 95, kind of in a half, because we recorded this once and we only got audio in half of it. So some of it's going to be re-recorded today. Well, all of it's going to be re-recorded today. But we're going to be talking about my music, one of the bands I love to listen to, and Destry's going to be talking about some bike stuff and some of his music stuff, and we'll keep it going.
Feels like deja vu.
It does. It does feel like deja vu. That was a really awkward intro. We'll use it.
What day is it?
It's Saturday.
Saturday. So
Yep.
It feels a little different for some reason, but we're gonna push on, and we're gonna 95, episode 95. We are here, and it's really apropos because it's a different type of episode.
Right. Well, it's funny too because sometimes we have to record on Saturdays.
Yes.
Just because our schedules conflict. This one we did record on Thursday.
Yes.
And for some reason the audio was cut out for half of it, and we didn't know that until Chris started editing it. And so we decided to come back today and re-record it. And when we record on Saturdays, usually doesn't feel any different.
Mm-hmm.
When we re-record on Saturdays, that's when it feels different, because it's like all of us, we've already talked about this,
Mm-hmm.
and
It will be interesting to see how it flows, and only we will know the difference.
right,
But,
exactly.
yeah. What? So here's one of the several funny things about it. I brought up something about technology, and you guys went on a rant.
Yep.
And none of that was recorded.
Yeah.
None
It
of that
was just our video, no
Yeah.
audio.
So let's just we'll go ahead and stop talking about what we did. We'll just do. So I want to talk about a couple things. You're going to do the majority of the music today.
Right.
I'm going to do a real quick music thing.
Okay.
Because I went to a thrift store and I found some music that I really like, and I had forgotten that I had memorized these CDs. One of them is Jim Croce, Photographs and Memories. It's also his greatest hits, is what it's called.
And I've only heard about him once before.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was past Thursday.
This was put out in 1972. If you listen to any of my parts of these podcasts, you'll sense a theme in my musical taste. And this one is Carole King, Tapestry. This was one of those recordings like Fleetwood Mac Rumors. It is not a best of. However, it's one of the cornerstones of this type of music, which is, I call it acoustic songwriter. These two people are very similar in what they do. So Carole King is 71, and Jim Croce was 72. So, a lot of the sound. Jim Croce with his guitar. Now, there's 14 songs on here, and he wrote every one of them. Back in the day, you would say, why would you even mention that, Destry? Because it wasn't uncommon back in the day to have a CD like this with somebody. But Jim Croce was a writer, and he was a very good musician, a guitar player also. Not unlike the Grateful Dead or Fish or any one of those bands, Tedeschi Trucks Band. If the front man or woman would go out and sit in front of 90,000 people who bought tickets and sat on a stool, played their guitar with a microphone, everybody would go home happy. That's just what you expect, and it's what you get with these people. Carole King, great piano player. I think she played guitar also, but she was mostly a piano player. And one of the songs, I Feel the Earth Move.
Yep.
We've all heard that, right? So far away, it's too late, baby. Now it's too late. That's another. Chances are, people, if you don't know who she is, if you listen to 5 of these songs, you listen to the whole album, you'd recognize 5 songs.
Right.
Right. Just because they get in the grain of society and people redo them and redo them, redo them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the same thing with Jim Croce. Time in a Bottle is the biggest one I think people would
I'd spend
recognize.
every moment with you.
Yes. Yes. If I could put time in a bottle.
Yep.
It's Bad Bad Leroy Brown.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that one?
Yep.
Right? He wrote it.
Yeah.
Been hundreds of people have done that song. Operator.
Yep.
Right?
I heard that one.
So you honestly didn't know who Jim Croce was? You didn't know who he was, but you've heard all these songs.
Yeah, yeah.
See?
I think I've heard them by people who've covered them.
Okay.
Because, like, if I could save time in a bottle, I'd spend a moment with you. You know, that it's the female version of that that's in my mind. Not what'd you say? Coochie? Croce?
Jim Croce.
Sorry, that was bad.
You can call
Jim
him Coochie. You
Jim
can call
Croce.
him Coochie. Only his friends call him Coochie.
Right,
That's okay.
right.
Jim Croce. It's
I
really
was trying to read it from a long distance away.
it's really proving my point that you don't know who he is, but you've heard all those songs.
Right.
You know, just a great, very prolific songwriter, and he died young. I didn't want to do this research because I just didn't want to get sad. I didn't find out exactly how he died, when he died, but I think it was a car crash, if I'm not mistaken. But he was really young, but he put out all these songs. What I like about him is that he'll do a song like Operator. Can you help me place this call? Do you recognize that one?
Yep.
See, that's crazy. Yep.
Operator. That one? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. That's it. So he'll do one like Time in a Bottle, which is like, I mean, a love song, man. A wordsmith, right? Very word economical. He was really a poet,
right?
And he put it to music. Then he'll turn around and do one called Roller Derby Queen, and he talks about he was watching he was in a bar, he was watching roller derby on TV. This is in the 70s, right? Roller derby was on TV. He said he fell in love with this one girl who, in the program that he was looking at with the roller derby, described her as a refrigerator with a head. He said she was 212. She was 5'2" and 212 pounds. To me, that's genius to be able to do Time in a Bottle, then turn around the same album and do Roller Derby Queen. It's so funny. And really, the whole album is him. Maybe some other music in the background, but not much. It's just him and a guitar, and that's his greatest hits. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
It says he died in a plane crash.
In a plane crash,
yeah.
Okay.
Their chartered Beechcraft E18S crashed shortly after takeoff from the Natchitoches Regional Airport.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so whenever I got this CD at a thrift store, what I usually do is this. I'll look at it. I'll make sure the CD's in there, first of all, because I've gotten ripped off before. Just CD not being in it. I'll look at it, see if it's in good condition. I might wipe it off. That's what I did. I put it in, and I listened to it about 6 times before I even changed the CD. And I realized the first time I listened to it, I sang practically every song by heart. I don't know Roller Derby Queen. I almost do now, but I didn't before. I don't even remember that song. But the other ones, man, I couldn't. It took me back to a place in Lumberton, North Carolina, where I grew up. But I would never have just looked at it and said, yeah, I know that CD by heart. But evidently I did. And, you know, like I'm always saying, none of the words are right that I'm singing, but I remember it in a certain way. This is the way my brain works, Chris. One of the songs is called One Less Set of Footsteps. And it says, one less set of footsteps. The way I sing it is one less set of footsteps on your door in the morning. Now that doesn't make much sense, does it?
When you think about it, it doesn't.
What do you think? One less set of footsteps on the
floor.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I never sing floor. I always sing door. I've sang door for all my life, and I'm considered.
Yeah.
I still sing door.
I think we all have songs like that in our head.
It just doesn't make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes total sense to say it with the door. But anyway, so anyway, I still say door. I'll continue to say door. Okay, that's Jim Croce. Carole King, at the time, was dating James Taylor.
Oh.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
And James Taylor, most people know James Taylor as a wordsmith, a guitarist, and a singer and a writer. So him, Jim Croce, a lot alike.
He even collaborated with the person I'm going to be talking about.
Oh, is that right? I don't doubt it. So Donna asked me whenever I came home with these CDs, she said, why do you continue to buy CDs whenever you can stream music?
Right.
And here's the answer. First of all, it's that tactile tape. We can read a book on electronically, almost any book we want to, right? And that has value to it. I'm okay with that. But you open a book and you start reading. Something about holding that book with a lamp and you're just sitting there and you're reading. There's something more soothing to me. And I think it's got to do something physically also, right? With the way that we're receiving the information off of an iPad or receiving the information off of a 2D book. There's got to be something less or more soothing.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
No, I think that's true in a number of cases or a number of senses because, think about just the physiology of reading from a book. You're holding it, you're focusing on all this stuff. If you're looking at an iPad or you're listening to it on tape, you're usually doing something else at the same time.
Sure.
Or if you're on an iPad, notifications are popping up or whatever.
Right.
It's almost like if it's a book, your attention is 100% devoted to it.
It's analog.
Yeah.
It's analog. That's right. I agree with
we're
that.
analog. It's analog. There's a compatibility there that doesn't exist in the digital format.
That's the same difference with a camera. If you use a camera on the phone, even if you're not doing a lot of things, you could be doing a lot more things. With a dedicated camera, your camera. That's it. You're doing the camera. What I was saying was, why do I still buy CDs? The tactile part of it and the data that you can receive also. Every word is on here. Not that I read them, but every word is on here if you want to actually sing the songs correctly. And there's a history of things. This whole first page is about Carole King and James Taylor, their experience recording. James Taylor wrote this about his experience with her. I love that. I loved opening up albums and reading about them and everything. Anyway, that's kind of the reason that I continue to buy CDs.
I have a love-hate relationship with streaming. The reasons I love it is because I don't always have that CD with me.
Right.
And even if I do have that CD with me, I don't always have a CD player with me. But if I have music like on Amazon or YouTube or any of these streaming platforms, Spotify, Pandora, all these things I've done before, no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, I always have access to that music. And it's not just about music too. I listen to a lot of podcasts and lectures and half of the time, the Bible study stuff that I do is I'm either listening to some lecture about it or some study about it, or listening to just the Bible being read to me or whatever. And it's difficult to bring a stack, especially if you're trying to cross-reference stuff. You can't bring the whole stack of Bible DVDs with you everywhere. So in that sense, I love the streaming platforms. What I hate about them, though, is how even though you purchase something online, that doesn't mean it doesn't get altered behind your back or deleted behind your back when whoever you purchase that information from, their agreement with the producers of that information or whatever, something changes, and then all of a sudden you no longer have access to something you bought.
What would change that would upset you? Chris has a lot to say about this too. I've had a conversation with him about it. What would change, Chris, that would upset you from the original and would change a year later or whatever?
With me, it's all of a sudden they either do away with it because it's no longer politically correct, something like that, or they go in and they'll alter words. That's happened in several cases here where they've gone in and taken out sections of movies.
Because it's not politically correct anymore?
Not politically
Is that
correct.
right?
Yeah, they've gone in and edited
That's
things
a
like
stinker.
that before on several cases. The fact is, when you own something, they can't alter it. That's a big thing to me. You can't go back and change the textbook or the CD that's in my hand.
Yeah,
and that's something. My youngest son and I had this conversation. He doesn't own a CD player, doesn't own a CD, DVD player. Everything they do is streaming. And J-Dell and we stream a lot of stuff at the house from YouTube and stuff.
We all do.
It's the point of they decide they don't want you to hear this, they don't want you to read this. They can just take it away.
That's editing history.
And
it is. And that's infuriating.
Yeah, it is infuriating.
Most recently, what comes immediately to mind, just within the last maybe a week or so ago, I remember reading about Amazon and the 007 series, the James Bond, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Most of the cover art is him standing there holding a gun. And because guns are politically incorrect, they've taken the gun out of the digitally altered the cover art of these movies, which
oh my gosh.
I'm not this kind of movie buff where the cover art is important to me. And I collect that or anything. But it's the principle of the thing. The precedent that's being set is because something in this picture has become politically correct. We're going to digitally edit something you've already purchased and change it in some way to accommodate that. And even if I were the kind of person that agreed with that thing being, morally incorrect or something like that, I don't want history to be revised to reflect what my opinion has changed to be today. Because that's not the role of history. So I see that as being an extreme danger. Because that's right out of the pages of 1984 by Aldous Huxley. We revise history to fit our modern narrative.
So really, whenever we're purchasing anything streaming or we don't have it in our hands, we're really leasing it, aren't we? We're kind of leasing music and leasing podcast.
Not even that. Where it doesn't even have anything to do with that music or that movie. We're purchasing the ability to view whatever they stick in the slot of that movie title.
Gotcha. Right.
Because Disney has done this on a lot of their movies, is they go back and they edit scenes based on what's politically correct.
It's tragic.
Yeah,
it really is.
I mean, the one that comes immediately to mind, the movie Lilo and Stitch. There's this one scene where the daughter is hiding in the oven in the kitchen. Well, that's kind of dangerous. So they edited that. So instead of it being an oven door, it's a pizza box that's leaning up against the cabinet. Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Who cares? That's not something that needs to be revised, but that kind of stuff happens all the time.
That's
and it happens.
Snowflake-ish. Is that snowflake-ish?
It's snowflake-ish, but it's that subtle thing that happens without us even knowing it. And it's like, if I've purchased this, whatever it is, there should be an expectation that doesn't change.
Right. Sure.
Well, it's like you go back. Why do you think you no longer see Looney Tunes? You and I grew up with Looney Tunes.
I was just
I grew up with
thinking
Looney
about
Tunes.
that.
Yeah.
So now you no longer see Roadrunner.
I was just thinking about that.
You no longer Yosemite Sam.
Right.
Rootin' tootin'. Shooting.
Chris, you couldn't edit that to make it watchable.
Right. You would have is the intro music, and then you would have the titles, and there'd be nothing in between.
And sometimes not even the titles.
Right. My favorite part of the coyote in Roadrunner is whenever one of them would go over the side, and he'd look down the side. It's so far down that he would disappear, and then you'd see a bump.
Yeah. But they're like dropping anvils on each other's head and shooting each other, and
And I barely do that now, so I can't. It didn't influence me.
Normal.
But nobody back then, us kids who were watching it when we were little, none of us thought realistically, oh, if I stick my finger in the barrel of a gun,
for a second,
it'll explode.
Not for a second,
because everybody was intelligent enough to know this is not real life. It's a cartoon. Animals don't do this. People don't do this.
Yeah.
It just
not one revolver I've ever shot had a little sign that said "bang" on it that came out. Not one revolver ever did.
And I watched those same cartoons today because Warner Brothers is still making Looney Tunes, but you watch them today and they are complete and utter trash.
Are they?
They're not funny. They cater to the smallest attention span possible.
Okay.
The animation isn't even good because it's all being done digitally now. It's just like the voices are horrible. Yeah, just
you don't have Mel Blanc anymore.
Right.
I'm worried though. Okay, I'm a little older than you. I'm the eldest one here. But my point being is, in 20 years, 30 years, are they going to have a history book? And I'm saying this with all sincerity, that says the reason the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor is because we dropped a nuke on them first.
That's the slope that we're talking about.
How stupid people are, because ask somebody these things. Name a country. Africa's not a country; it's a continent.
Yeah.
Europe, it's not a country; it's a continent. These people don't even know where they live, and they go, who fought in World War II, and they have no clue. And so when you don't know your history, I can change everything about it, and you'll never know whether I've changed it or not. The lie with the lie.
What's also funny is like the amount of stuff that we can rant about, because our rant Thursday was entirely different than our rant today.
The outline was the same.
The outline was the same, yeah.
For professional ranting, tune into our podcast.
But, there is a very real problem here, not just from like the historical perspective that we share here, but like just across the board, people don't like when you mess with the stuff that they buy. And that's why there's a tremendous increase in the demand for these like alternate platforms that, yes, they are streaming, but they're like the antithesis of Netflix and Hulu and things like that, because it's like a free service. It's like piracy, right? It's people who are amalgamating all of these online databases that are that are pointing to servers that are full of all these movies, and they just sit there. Nobody messes with them. They're available to view, all that kind of stuff. I'm not justifying that it's right to do that, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people who almost do it in a sense of justice, because like if I'm going to pay to purchase something and you're going to either steal that back from me because for whatever reason, your contract or something has changed, or the terms of your contract has changed, or you're going to edit it behind my back. Like that is, people view that this is my thing that I purchased.
Yeah.
How dare you come into my house and change it or take it away from me?
Right.
And so it's a reaction to that. And that's why Netflix, like for the first time in a long time, their profits have decreased and their subscribers have decreased, because people are getting tired of that, especially when Netflix and other streaming platforms, they like keep moving the goalpost or yanking the rug out from under you. Like, we'll pay this for a subscription, pay this for no ads. But then, 6 months, a year later, this one has ads now. If you'd like to have the one without ads, here's the upgrade. Like, no, I already did that.
Right. Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on me.
Right.
Fool me twice, you can't fool the fooler.
That's a good point.
George W. said.
One of the services.
That's a good point. Hey, note to self: look up amalgamating.
Okay, yeah.
A very good friend of mine, though, he uses a service like Josh. Something's called Plex.
Yeah, I've heard of Plex.
And so he can upload. He's got enough movies and TV shows to literally fill this room. I mean, disc and disc. You walk into his house, his walls are movies.
Been collecting for a long time.
So and he puts these movies up on Plex. So he has a server that he can access from anywhere with all his movies, but they're not editable because they're his. They're on his server.
Yeah.
So, and that's what. So, and then if he gives me access to log into it, then I can log in and look at the movies that he has. It's sort of like a private Netflix is what it's like.
Sounds like, sure.
But it's a wonderful, thing. I can then take, if I want to, like put my movies on a Plex thing, and I can have it to where I can have it digitally available. I think it's just getting to the point where people are getting tired of everything being altered to serve the political or the agenda.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, technology can be good, and like anything else, it can be manipulated.
Right.
We're talking about stuff that's been happening for a while, but AI now, it's interesting to see how AI is changing these days, how it's changing the way we consume and what we consume. Right now, it's still pretty obvious whenever you're scrolling through your social media what is an AI video, but it's getting less and less easy to do it. That somehow there's still a look to, at least the one that's in my feed that comes up a lot. There's still a look to the still shot of the video that doesn't look right, and I know it's not right.
Yeah. You can't describe it, but it's not right.
Yeah, the color palette is off. The color palette's off.
Well, that's because you and I do a lot of photography. So
maybe
we can spot things, but when you start seeing a picture of somebody and they look too perfect, there's not a blemish in the skin. No guy or no girl has, even with makeup, is perfect.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not AI. Just let you know. I know that's a question right now.
Many of our listeners have been asking about that.
Is Josh AI? Man, that guy looks a little bit just too perfect.
But even somebody like Steven Tyler, who has some age on him, who has lived a very hard life, AI will they don't try to make him perfect. They try to make him look like he's had some age on him. That even right now has a look of falseness to it. Maybe it's because I am a photographer, but it looks good, man. It looks really good. But something about it is still off. And then you watch a video, and videos are getting hard to pay attention to.
I really don't think that humanity is ready for the kind of false information that AI is going to be able to make possible.
We're not.
Because what has been the gold standard for quite some time for proof, like, you have video evidence.
Video don't lie.
Yeah, there's a video of this guy doing this. Well, now there's a video of anything you want doing anything you want.
There's so many,
and it's getting better and better.
Yep, there's so many pictures of that I've seen of a cat rescuing a baby on the porch, rescuing them from a lion or a bear.
Yep.
And what is
And I've seen snake and Komodo dragon.
It looks so good until the bear and the cat start interacting, and then all of a sudden the speed changes a little bit.
Are they merged together?
Listen, as a photographer, man, that looks real. It does until that cat and that bear get together, and it just changes a little bit. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Right.
I used to watch him and go, wait a minute, is that real? Now I just go, I don't even. It's fake.
It's the same with like their algorithm of YouTube and social media and stuff like that. I'll get recommendations because the YouTube algorithm knows there are certain things I like to watch, and so. And one of those is like history, archaeology, things like that. And so I'll get these videos suggested, and it's really cool. I'll click on it, and it's like automatically generated videos on an AI generated script that's narrated by AI. And I absolutely hate that. So I get out of it, and I say, don't recommend this channel anymore.
Right.
Because I'm like, I want to just make it very clear. And I think we should do this as humanity. Like there's a line that we do not want to cross. And that is where the script and the video footage and the narration are all generated by something that's not human.
Right. In photography, What's happening now is that the metadata is it started. I don't know if it isn't it yet, or it's about to be. It's in the process of requiring that the metadata in AI is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something about the picture, just a picture. So if you're entering your photograph in a contest, you've got to prove that it's not AI, and they look at the metadata to see if it's not AI. People are now trying to cheat and do all these things. So that is what it is.
One of the things I have to do when I'm posting y'all's videos, I have the whole list of little things I have to key off on, and one of them is this is not a created scene of a fictitious person.
Yeah,
I have to actually tell,
right.
because if we could go in and put in something AI to maybe show something,
right,
like how something, but I have to say that there's a simulated or a fake scene, or has somebody been simulated or whatever. I have to click. If I don't, and AI YouTube finds that, they can flag the video.
I don't mind watching AI if I choose to watch AI. If I
never choose to watch AI.
I mean, I could watch something. I don't know. I'm with you. I totally don't want to watch it if I don't know I'm watching it. But I'm sure there's some stuff that I'd like to see that's AI, but for my choice. I don't want to be fooled. But anyway.
JDL found one. It was a picture of a woman pushing 2 baby strollers. But then she's using her third arm to hold the third baby in the middle of her body. And it looks real until all of a sudden you go, 1, 2, wait a minute. She's got 3 arms.
She's got 3 arms.
The guy looks fine. The buggies.
Right.
But they were generating it, trying to say she's doing all, but it was like, wait a minute, she's got 3 arms.
Let me ask y'all a question.
Okay.
A while ago, years ago, I saw this video where a motorcyclist rammed the back of a car, and the rider flipped and ended up standing on the vehicle that he rammed in the back. Have y'all seen that recently? Is that AI? Because that was before anybody even started talking about AI. I wonder if somebody just got ahead of it. Have y'all ever seen that? You haven't seen it. It's exactly what I said on a highway. Choom, he hits this truck. He flips over the handlebars and ends up on his feet on the top of that SUV. And that's the video. Have you seen it, Chris?
I think something like that. Here's what you got to remember. What we are actually playing with today in the civilian world was probably available 20 to 25 years ago in the military. You got to remember, cell phones we think are fairly like an 80 or like maybe a 90s thing. They were using cell phones in Vietnam, for special forces.
Okay.
So whatever
that's why you have so many selfies of soldiers in
Vietnam.
No, they didn't have flip phones, but they had the brick type phone.
Right.
And they could, call in. They have a little antenna sticking up somewhere. That was, I've talked to several vets in Vietnam, and they were like MacSog people, and they were like, had these,
That wasn't satellite phones. Some of them had to be satellite phones.
Satellite, but they had a little hidden, these long range type antenna things, and it was like it was amazing.
Okay.
The cell phone type technology was available in the 60s to certain elements. So we got to remember what the government lets you finally get to play with has probably been around for 20 or 25 years.
Gotcha.
Yeah, what is it called? The 802.11 BGN signal that our routers use to make a Wi-Fi network. That was developed in World War II. Yeah.
Wow. How about that?
A lot of people think like night vision technology is something that was actually the first night vision scopes were used in the Pacific by Marines because the Japanese were very famous about taking on at night because they were trained for that. But all of a sudden, they were spotting them in the middle of the night because these guys had these huge backpacks full of batteries and these night scopes in World War II.
Yeah. And they got that technology from aliens.
That's right, obviously.
I know. I gave it to them on the mothership.
One of the things I like about cycling is that it's mostly analog, except for your computer. You know what I mean? It's mostly analog. I'm making that bike go on my own. Now, lately, there's a big push for electric and analog bikes together, which I'm all for somebody who has special needs or somebody that's older that wants to continue to ride. But they're making them now to where you can barely tell the difference. It used to be obvious, right? The the battery was big, and you can see now you've got to really look to tell the good ones anyway. But I did something the other day I didn't think I'd ever do. I put an electronic shifter on my bike.
Right.
I push a button, click, click, and that gear goes ding. Push another one, that gear goes ding, ding, ding. And I got to say, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's precise. It's perfect whenever it's tuned right.
Right.
It's perfect. I plug it in at night. I ride the next day, and I could get 8, 9, 10 days out of it if I rode 2 hours a day. So it's a big battery. But and it alleviates the wire coming from the shifter to the derailleur. Now,
why is that important?
A little bit lighter.
Okay.
Just one less thing to mess up, but having electronic stuff adds some other things that could mess up too.
You haven't eliminated one thing that can mess up. You've introduced 3 things that can mess up. So
far, and the history of this derailleur, it's outweighing the analog because of several things. One, the preciseness and the quickness. 2, with a regular derailleur, you're not supposed to change under load. So if I've messed up and I'm climbing a hill and I haven't already shifted gears, I can go ahead and shift, and it's not going to degrade the gears. It's going to help me get up the hill. 3, on a bicycle, you can put different number of cogs in the back. You can put 3, you can put 5, you can put 7, and there's some standardization back there. So I have 16 gears, I think, or 12. You used to have to get the exact the proprietary derailleur to go with the gears.
Interesting.
Now with the electronic, it'll go from 3 to 16 gears. So you don't have to have the proprietary. You can have whichever one. That's a big plus.
That is a big plus.
When you talk about spending the cog and the front, you're talking about spending hundreds of dollars to change the derailleur.
Right.
Now you can just get the
There's
derailleur.
Interchangeability there.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that part.
And for me, I just got through tuning mine. I could never tune an analog derailleur to get it right because there's set screws to set the extremes, the high and the low, and then you've got to go in the middle and then set each gear by changing wires here or changing knobs here and changing knobs here. I've spent about 5 hours one day tuning mine because it's really odd the way you have to tune it, but I finally got it. And man, I can change it. I can always, if it messes up, even in the middle of the woods, I can get off and retune it without any tools. That's really good. That's really good. So I've only had it for a couple of weeks, about a month, and it's went out of tune once. So we'll see. We'll see how it if it equals out to being good or bad. I kept the other one to see what happens.
Yeah.
But it was a solution to a problem that I didn't have. Well, it was a luxury, right? So we'll see how it.
My approach to that kind of thing is like, I have a healthy mistrust of anything electronic just because I'm an engineer and I have that's pretty much it. Yeah. But
I don't blame you.
But I realize like how easily electronic things can fail, and so like when I'm sort of weighing the pros and cons of an analog version of something versus a digital version of something, I feel like the electronic environment is already a loss. So there has to be something that digital environment offers that compensates for that loss, right?
I got you. Yeah.
A good example is like household appliances. I absolutely hate the smart washing machine, for instance. Smart washing machine that has 50 different pre-programmed loads.
Yeah.
Hooks into it, can hook into your Wi-Fi.
Right. Comes with a turntable.
It comes with a turntable.
And the door.
You have an app for your phone that notifies you when the when the washing machine is going through its different cycles or whatever. And it's like that sort of thing is not an appreciable level of gain,
Yeah.
or a big enough level of gain to make to compensate for the lack of reliability of all those electronic components in that thing, because this is a big machine that's vibrating like crazy when it's in spin cycle and going through all these temperature fluctuations, and not to mention just the average surge of power that comes through the average household on any given day.
Gotcha.
And so those types of things, like if the voltage surges a couple volts because there's something going on with the power grid, I don't want to fry the main communication board that governs all that stuff, because that's not something that can be fixed. I have to have a guy come, take a look at it, determine that it's the board, tell me he doesn't have that board in stock. It has to be ordered from the manufacturer. It's going to be a week. So he's going to pay me for that visit. He's going to pay me for the board, and he's going to pay me he's going to charge me to come back and install the board.
Yeah, you're going to pay him.
Yeah, I'm going to pay him, and hopefully that is the answer to it. And it's not that board and another little board somewhere that hasn't been figured out yet. And so, meanwhile, I go for a week without being able to do laundry, and I'm hoping, and I'm paying a bunch of money, and to me, having the ability to connect to my washing machine with an app and say, it's in the third spin cycle right now.
That's not important to you?
That does not give me incentive to deal with the unreliability of that thing. I want an old washing machine that just has knobs and no brains.
You don't want to say, "Hey Deb, it's almost done. You might need to go get it." You don't want to say that.
I've never been in the 46 years of my life, I have never been in a situation where I have not known exactly when the washing machine is done or the dryer is done, because they all come with this built-in thing that goes, that's the only thing in my house that makes that noise.
Me coming off of it being the electrical side of the engineering part of it. If it's electronics, it's not if it'll fail. It is when
it's going to fail.
It's going to fail at some point in time.
Yeah,
and we live in Florida. Florida, as you know, is the lightning capital of the entire United States and probably the world. I've had so many things get fried by lightning, and it's just like the smarter it is, the more susceptible it is.
We almost have to go out of the way now just to get I'll just call it an analog washing machine or any kind of appliance.
Well, I went through that with my air conditioner. I had a really nice it was like a Carrier, top of the line. Had all these cool controls to vary humidity and temperature and all that stuff, because I disobeyed my cardinal rule of electronics is did the features of that exceed its unreliability? And it didn't. The whole reason I got that was because my older air conditioner that had been around for like 20 years or so, I figured it's going to break soon. It's probably going to be in the middle of summer. I would not like it to happen in the summer. So I'm going to get I'm going to get a new air conditioner now to fend off the likelihood that this old one's going to break. That new one broke every single summer.
Oh my god!
And it was always something stupid like, surge took out the board again. If you put a little surge protector on it for X number of bucks, that shouldn't happen.
We got one on the truck.
Yeah, got one on the truck, or I can order you one. I can come back next week and put it on for X number of dollars. I'm like, well, it's cheaper than what's breaking, so let me go ahead and do it. And sure enough, next summer, surge happened to take out your surge protector, took out your surge protector. And it took out the thing that the surge protector was protecting. So
the protector.
Yeah, it's the protector. So and it just kept happening and happening, and it broke every single summer. I had sometimes multiple times, and you don't want to break down your air conditioner in the summer in Florida. And the last time it happened, it wasn't just a communications board, but it was a communications board that was integral to the fan motor. So it was going to be a repair that was like $3,000-$4,000 on this air conditioner. And I was like, I'm to the point where I've already put in enough money on this over the past 3 years. I could have bought a new air conditioner. And so I said, no, forget that. Don't fix it. See you later. And I called up another company, because I do work with air conditioning companies. And so I called one of them up and I said, hey, can I get this brand and this model? And it was an analog. It was a really good brand, an analog capacitor start motors, very few electronics. That thing has been running like a beast.
Nice.
It has been so nice, and and none of the problems of the other one.
Nice.
It could just go and go and go and go. And the one time I did have a problem with it, the capacitor on the motor blew. Like $15.
Stick
another capacitor on there. It's back up and running. No problem. Every truck has those capacitors on them.
Love it. Love it. Well, sometimes technology it's just a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. I like the way you said, does it outweigh the likelihood of it breaking down? Or does it, in other words, does it solve a problem, or does it create problems? Right. And that's
and a good example. Like, I use a computer every single day as an engineer. I'm doing my drawings and calculations and stuff like that on it, and it's an electronic device that parts break down all the time. For software glitches or something like that. But in spite of that, I can get way more done with a computer and a drafting system and a calculating engine, all this stuff, than I can the old analog way with hand drawings and
You'd
stuff.
You'd still be doing an analog if it was up to you, wouldn't you?
No,
drawings and
not
things.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I love those old ways of drawing, and I have a box full of the old CAD drafting equipment and stuff, and there's a nobility to that doesn't exist anymore. The old huge rooms full of drafting tables and draftsmen who are there with pen and or with pencil and rulers and French curves and T-squares and stuff.
I wonder if we asked AI to create an engineering office. I bet they would do that. I bet it would be the old engineer. You know what I mean?
I don't know, because I've asked AI to make a picture of an average engineer at a computer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
And I'll have to see if I can find it again, because it basically made a cartoon version of me.
Yeah. That's funny.
You gotta remember, I come from that time where we had the drafting boards and things, and and then they introduced CAD, and they had all these other strange, and I was like, okay, now I've got to go back and figure all this whole new way out. Just give me my ruler and pencil again.
Well, I came from the tail end of the analog generation. Like when I first took drafting in engineering school, the first half of it was pencil and paper. Second half of it, we started using computer stuff.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and so it was like, this is the way we did it, last year, but this is the way we're starting to do it now.
Okay.
Kind of, exaggerating a little bit there, but so I was accustomed to the hand style of drafting, even though the most of my education has been in the computer way of drafting. But I love, like, just the quality of the instruments at that time were so much better. When my daughter was in like 7th grade or whatever, and was taking geometry for the first time, we're buying her the school supplies, the protractor, the straight edge, the compass, and everything. I just remember getting so ticked off because even the good quality compasses were absolute trash compared to the average compass. Yeah, when I grew up, when I was a kid, I could get that, and especially, like, I still have my grandmother, when she was alive, she used to be head of the drafting department for Hewlett Packard, which at the time I think was Agilent Technologies or something. But I remember going to the basement of their building up in Colorado, and she had her drafting table out there, and because they were drawing electronic schematics of things, and all of her drafting equipment. I have all of that because when she passed away, I'm like, nobody else in the family wants this. I'm the only nerd, dibs, and so I got all that stuff. And like, I can open up that today, and all of these drafting instruments are perfectly usable.
Oh, wow.
And like in prime condition, like you don't get that kind of quality in your tools today. I can take hers and spread it out on a drafting table and make the exact same drawing she did when she was in her prime.
That reminds me of photography, Chris. I collect cameras. I didn't realize I was a camera collector until I started
collecting cameras,
realizing how many cameras I had. Then I just said, "Oh, okay, I'm a collector." somehow makes it okay.
Right.
Um, but
You came by it honestly.
That's right, I did. So there's one camera that I have that is 1909,
1918, yeah.
It was pre-war, I think
It was post World War I, pre World War II.
Okay, and we know
I
this.
think everything is pre-war.
Right.
It's either pre or post, depending.
Yeah, we just need another war in today's podcast.
Right,
Pre-war.
that's true. But we know this because whenever you open the camera, first of all, it's on bellows. You open it, and it has these leatherette type of bellows that everybody's seen on like a Polaroid camera. And then inside of it, there's not a wire to be seen.
Mhm.
And inside there's a like a metal riveted plaque in there that has the date, maybe even who, I don't know.
It was Eastman Kodak.
Mhm.
It had all of the where it was built and what town and everything else.
Unbelievable.
But it's still nice and clear.
I took that, Chris. When I got it off the shelf, I took it off, and I didn't know how to use it because it was just flat. It looked like a piece of metal, like this.
Yeah.
It was a thick piece of metal. So I sat there for a minute, and I looked at it, and I thought, my engineering friends are going to be sad about me if I can't figure out how to open this thing. So anyway, I looked at it. The point was, I was able to look at it, open it up. Okay, I saw that it had bellows, so I looked at everything I could see. It was like an old engine, right? You could see everything. You can change the spark plugs. I pulled it out. I went, wow, I've never seen a camera like this. And I started looking at it, and everything that we have on these cameras that decides how the picture looks was on this camera in a different way, in a total analog way. There were levers and springs.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at it going, man, this is a work of art. And I found what I thought was the shutter button.
Mm-hmm.
And I pushed it, and it went click, click. Man, you got to be click, 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 click. It worked. And I looked in the lens, and these are leaf shutters. So it closes up until you push the shutter, and it opens and closes again. Click, click. Man, I would have paid $150 for this camera. I got it for like $6 or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking around going, does anybody else know this is here? And it's a work of art, man.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. These cameras, they're not going to be around in 20 years.
While you're talking about that, I'm going to grab something from the other.
Okay. Yes. These cameras, as good as they are, they're not going to be, they might be around in 20 years.
Yeah.
But we're not going to find them in thrift stores and take them out and put a battery in it, and they're not going to. They're going to need some work, you know.
Well, one of the things about the camera that you bought that I thought was fascinating, yours didn't have the pin, but it was like a stylus.
Yes,
slot.
it was. Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, "What?" And we realized you can fold a little flap open.
Yeah.
And you could write the date.
Yeah.
Because this was predating. You could write Mrs. Jones or Mr. Smith. You could write something, and that would actually print that basically in a handwritten format into the edge of the photograph.
Yeah.
So if you needed to know, I took this like Grand Canyon, 1922,
right,
or
right.
2005 or whatever. It was there, and it was just it floored me that it's like this was something we're just now getting on cameras today to put in GPS locations.
Yes.
This camera over 100 years ago could do that.
You know what I'm happy about, and I don't think I reported this to you. I found another one like that was not in good shape, but it had the pin. So I bought that one and put that pin in this.
Actually, there's one of the cameras that I want that's one of those. It's 1938, 39. But the U.S. Army had a whole bunch of cameras built for their war photographers.
Mm-hmm.
Same style of camera. And they're in this kind of ugly green color.
Mm-hmm. Is it the army green?
It's not really an army green, but it's a green. But the thing is, your camera was built like a tank.
Mm-hmm.
This one's built like a tank.
Is that right?
Because they were built for combat photography.
Oh, I see.
And I found one, and it was like a ton of money, but it still worked. But it was just an amazing camera. Paint was not chipped. You could.
Oh man!
And this was in something because it was amazing.
That's another thing about the cameras. Every time I buy one, especially like when we're talking about Chris, you and I know we go, I wonder, where has this been? What hands were on this? What photos were taken, from this camera? Because it's used, you can tell it's used, but this particular one is in pristine shape. But even the old ones, if I don't have one already, I'll go ahead and get it. And if like $4.50, whatever. And I just think of the history. If there's any way we could, look at this particular camera. Was this in World War II? Was this in a trench somewhere in Vietnam? I love just entertaining that thought and rescuing those machines.
There was something interesting. It was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. We've all seen the Pearl Harbor images. This man who was in the Navy at Pearl Harbor, he had just bought one of like the non-sound type, 8mm things. This is, early. His wife lived in base housing, and they were right there. They found the film that shows a whole different perspective of Pearl Harbor that has never been seen. And that film has been there, for how many number of years in a footlocker somewhere.
Yeah.
So you never know what your camera's, where it's been, what it's taken.
Right.
And there's so many things, like we've stated. Technology is a great thing, but when you start going, the old analog cameras, they're still going to work no matter what.
Yeah, there's something special about analog camera for sure. What you got there, Joshy?
So something you said reminded me of this, and I wanted to kind of talk about it. You said, that old analog camera with the mechanical couplings and mechanisms and stuff in there, it was like a work of art. And that's an interesting idea, because I feel the same way about these. So like you collect old cameras, I like collecting old mathematics textbooks, engineering textbooks, things like that. And one of the reasons, I think the primary reason is because I think it's important for each generation to maintain a connection to the previous generations, because Isaac Newton made this really famous statement that's often repeated. He said that if the reason he was able to see as far as he could, or as far as he did, is because he stood on the shoulders of giants. So he made tremendous leaps forward in our understanding of things like gravitation and optics and things like that. But he credited his ability to make those advancements on the fact that he stood on the knowledge that had been developed by people like Galileo and scientists that came before, scientists, physicists, mathematicians that came before him. And so I think that's a really important thing that we need to remember as the next generation, is that we have to maintain that connection to the previous generation. Otherwise, if we sever that, then we're always going to be starting off at zero.
Right.
We don't. It's going to reduce our ability as a society to advance at the speed we could advance otherwise. And at the beginning of this, when I said humanity's not ready for these things, I think that's one of the reasons why, is because nowadays it seems like the attitude towards the old guard is, boomers, what do they know? Like what do my parents, they screwed everything up because they're stupid. I know everything. And that's why, I think we're going to fix everything. No, there's an inherent danger in severing your connection to the past. Which is one of the reasons why I love collecting these old books. But the statement you made about like this thing being a work of art, that's one of the things that caught me off guard in my collection of these things. Is like, this book here, it's called Shop Drawings, Measurements, Drilling Machine, Drilling and Appliances. Shop Drawings, Measurements, Drilling and Appliances. And this is from, I think, 1928. Which still in really good shape for being almost 100 years old.
Sure is.
But like the pictures in here, like, our pictures today, in textbooks, which there's this huge push in the academic world to get away from physical textbooks. Everyone wants you to rent them for a semester, which is stupid, because if this is a useful book, why are you only keeping it for a semester? Why aren't textbook companies encouraging young engineers or whoever, whatever your major is, to keep this reference for the rest of your life? Because this is the information that your career is based on.
Yeah.
But no, they say, rent it for a semester, never see it again, just move on. Forget everything that happened in the past. Absolutely hate that. I bought every single one of my textbooks when I was an undergrad in graduate school. And then, as the push, and I even encourage my daughter to do the same thing. Like, don't just get the electronic ones. Pay extra for the hard copies.
Okay.
Something that you'll own, because this information will never go away. But the images in them, like in these old books, they didn't have digital graphics. Every one of these things, like this is a picture of how to properly chuck a drill bit into a drill. Doesn't seem like that big of a concept, but the drawings, these are hand drawings that are used as images in these books, and they're absolute works of art.
Wow.
I mean, these are people who are not just drawing technical things. It's not like they're drawing a blueprint, but they're still communicating technical ideas. But their ability to shade the contours of the hand so that it looks different in its texture than the hard mechanical knurling of a drill chuck. That's the kind of stuff that you don't really understand. Like, these skills, these artistic skills and abilities of these people built modern civilization. And here's one. This is a whole series of books called Audels, Audels. This one's called Audels, Mathematics and Calculations for Mechanics. And by the way, another side rant is we're getting dumber as a civilization, because this isn't for engineers, it's for mechanics.
Okay.
But the information in here are things that I encountered in engineering, and some of these topics are even more advanced that I encountered perhaps in a partial differential equations class in graduate school. But this is a book from 1942, Audels, Mathematics and Calculations. But even still, like, this is, how to take proper measurements, a drawing of a micrometer.
Wow.
Which is taking advantage. It's we don't take advantage of just how fascinating this type of drawing is. We take it for granted. That's what I was trying to figure. That's what I was trying to come up with. We take that for granted, but like, this type of art is just so mind-boggling when you think of the fact that, like, this is an artistic style that's used to communicate very technical ideas, and oftentimes we get those two worlds separated. Like, there's artists and there's technical people.
Right.
There's STEM, and there's art, or maybe you stick A in the middle of it and make it STEAM, whatever. But the two are so intricately connected. This one is how to scribe a line on a piece of wood. This is Audels, Carpenter's and Builder's Guide. So this is for, like, framers and people who are building houses. And I love these books because I do a lot of work on a lot of engineering for old houses when they have to be repaired or altered in some way. And I like going back to these and saying, well, this is how they would have built this house back in the here again, this one I think is another one from the 1923 by Audel and Company. But just the drawing, how it's not just a drawing of a scriber and a spool of string, but, like, even on the string itself, they have how the fibers twist to make that string.
My goodness gracious.
Yeah, I mean, it's so amazing.
Where do you find books like that, Josh?
Same place you find your cameras.
Is that right?
Yeah, old thrift stores and stuff. Yeah, I go a lot of times. Thrift stores and antique stores, they'll have, people love to use old books for decorations.
Yes.
And so they'll have a stack of old books in an old cabinet or something.
Okay.
They're selling the cabinet,
Yes.
but they just have all these random books stuck in there for decoration.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll go and look at the books,
Okay.
and I'll be like, oh, this is an old book on shop drawings, measurements, drillings, and appliances. I wonder if they'll sell me the book, and they usually do, like
For sure.
a couple bucks or something.
Right. Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm always looking for old math books,
Nice.
engineering books,
Great.
physics books. Physics books are fun too because our knowledge of physics has changed so much. Like
Okay.
these types of things, like just math, the information doesn't change. Just our way of presenting it changes.
Okay.
Which, by the way, people in the 1920s, 1800s, all that stuff, their ability to digest complicated thoughts way better than our abilities today,
Is
because
that right?
even the language of textbooks has changed so much.
Okay.
Like there was an expectation that your ability to form words and read words and understand words was way higher back then than it is. Like the average 8th grader in the 1800s would have been easily able to understand a research report written by a graduate student today,
Interesting.
just because our language has degraded over time.
Wow.
But
Think about it. We don't teach things like Latin.
mhm.
They barely teach foreign language. Take, for example, this is a throw out for a possible future episode.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah, we've already
where-
deviated quite a bit from our original episode Thursday.
Okay.
But where would we
I think
be?
we're gonna do your music time next.
Yeah, we'll do
next
music
episode.
next time.
Where would we be in history, say, had Egypt not fallen or had
Mhm.
Rome not fallen?
Mhm.
I mean, that's a what if kind of thing. What happens, because when you do away with the past, you don't know how to build a wall anymore. You don't know how to do this. You don't know how to do that. So then you got to start building that wall all over again, learning how to put in this. And then if you got it wrong, well, you already got somebody who knew how to do it. That's the thing. We already showed you how to put the footer in, how to show you how to, now just slap it up. No, it's sad. It really is sad, the level that we're at.
So I like going to NASA in Huntsville because one of the high school teams that I've supported for a while, they compete in a human exploration rover challenge where they build this like human powered rover, and they take it up to Huntsville, and NASA builds a track for them, and they kind of like simulating different planetary terrains and different things that they have to
I'd love to
accomplish.
go with you one time and take pictures of that.
It's absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorite things to do. Which is sad because my brother-in-law who teaches in that program, he switched schools and now he's no longer doing that.
Oh, stinko.
Yeah. So that era kind of over. But right now NASA's trying to get back to the moon. And we haven't done that since the 60s and really early 70s. And so the generation of NASA engineers today that are trying to get back to the moon have never been there. So it's almost like
Oh, wow.
in history we've never
Interesting.
been to the moon.
Huh.
But when you go up to NASA in
Yeah.
Huntsville, and even all these different NASA, all the people that are working together, they've brought back these old geezers
I bet they
that
have.
were the engineers back in
Yeah.
the 60s and everything as consultants.
Oh, my God.
Because nobody knows how to solve these problems nowadays.
Wow.
With our current, I mean, you think as much technology as we have, and we still don't know how to do it. Well, how did these guys do it with nothing
Wow.
back
No
then?
kidding.
I mean, the core of their computers was literally they had women who were good with threading wires in a grid pattern and threading little ferrite donuts around the intersection of those wires, so that when current passed through them, the donut twisted this way or that way.
Oh, my
That simulated
gosh.
a 0 or a 1. They were building their computers
Wow.
cores by hand with women who were good with needle and thread.
Wow.
And that's how they built computers to go to the moon. And now we have so much computing power in our pockets that blows
Good
anything
gosh.
away, and they still don't know how to do it.
That's
They're still
interesting.
trying to figure out how to solve these problems.
That's very
If I'm not
interesting.
wrong, they said that the computing power of the Saturn V rocket was the equivalency of like a late 1980s, early 1990s, like Casio watch, like a digital watch. They had that kind of computing power for a rocket that's, how many stories is that thing? Like
Like 30 stories.
30 stories
Yeah.
tall.
Wow.
It had the The whole computing capacity was a not even a smartwatch, just a stupid, digital watch.
Yeah. And that's what they did. And so let's bring this all back around, right? Because ultimately we want to tie this back to something that's meaningful and biblical, right?
Okay.
When we've talked about this before, you mentioned the fall of Egypt and the fall of Rome and all that kind of stuff. Well, back when Israel was in Egypt and they were enslaved in Egypt, Egypt was really, really thorough with creating monuments and preserving records and all that kind of stuff. And they did so for a couple reasons. One, to keep records of their own history, but they were always doing it in honor of some Egyptian deity, like the Egyptian gods, those things. That's why you see like images of a pharaoh, standing in front of the god Ra or the god Horus or something like that. It's because they're always doing something in an effort of maintaining their relationship with their deities. God comes through and he tells Israel, "I'm going to free you from bondage in Egypt," and the Pharaoh's going to refuse to let you go. His heart's going to be hardened, all this kind of stuff. But he's basically telling him about these plagues that are coming, and he said the reason I'm going to do that is because you've been in Egypt for 400 years and you've been in this culture where everything is prioritizing the attitude of their gods and how powerful their gods are and everything. I'm going to bring these plagues, and all those plagues focused on a particular Egyptian deity. He said, the reason I'm doing that is to prove to them and to prove to you that I'm the one true God, and I'm more powerful than anything. And so he did that. We have the 10 plagues. They get out of Egypt. They cross the Red Sea. They're at Sinai, and God is starting to give them the law, the directions to build the tabernacle and all this stuff. And he made he made a series of important statements that he reiterated throughout their wandering through the wilderness and as they get into Canaan. He always instructed them to build memorials. And he said, the reason you build your memorials is because one day you're going to bring your kids back here, and your kids are going to ask what that memorial means, and you're going to tell your kids what I did for you here. And, we've been talking about like these old textbooks and those old cameras and, our knowledge of history and all this stuff. And today we've sort of lost that connection with the previous generation, and we've lost our ability to stand on the shoulders of giants. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the previous generation did something good. It could be that the previous generation did something bad. But those monuments still exist, and you still go back to those, and you learn from the good and you learn from the bad, so that you can stand on the shoulders of those giant good decisions or those giant bad decisions, and you can move forward and progress as a society. And we've lost the ability to do that. And I think as a whole, society has been damaged so much that when we're introduced to something like social media or something new like AI, that we've lost our tether to the past, that we're no longer able to adequately take on the challenge of those new ideas that are being presented to us, and it further adds to the destruction of our society. And there's an interesting verse in Revelation. It's talking about the beast and his prophet and an image that's set up in honor of the beast. And it says he had the power to, I'm paraphrasing, he had the power to make the beast speak and like to convince people to worship the beast. What other thing are we talking? I mean, that's almost the exact same principle we're dealing with when we're talking about AI, because we have inanimate things that are being able to speak and convince and compel conscious thinking human beings to act in ways that they wouldn't otherwise. And I think that's an indication of what we're seeing now, society has lost its tether to the past, and it no longer has the ability to adequately deal with those types of challenges that are being presented to us. It all goes back to the memorials in the Old Testament. Build memorials, tie yourself to the past so that you can look forward into the future.
As fascinating as this has been, it's been a little bit of a downer to the end, but I want to, it's realistic, and I think we should do another episode to talk more positively about what we've been talking about today.
Oh, absolutely.
What are we using?
Yeah,
how
I
can we
think that'll
use
be
it,
a
right?
good part 2 for next week.
Yeah, this sounds good.
Because this, and even Scripture talks about the good part.
Good. Let's do it then. Let's talk about next week. We'll talk about technology again. We'll get to Alison Krauss, if not next week, the week after that.
Today's the warning.
There you go.
Part of the message.
There we go. And the title will reflect that somehow.
Right. And God does the same thing when he talks to Israel. It's like, here's a bunch of bad news, but here's a bunch of good news
there
too.
You go. There you go. We'll talk about that next week. So, Josh, thanks for coming here on Saturday.
Yeah, this ended up being way different than our Thursday.
That's all right.
Ended up being fresh and new.
Yep, that's right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Thank you, J-Dell, Chris's lovely wife in the other room. Donna, I love you, and I'll see you soon, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Thanks.